Good evening, I'm Kyle Clark.
And I'm Alexandra Lewis. Tonight, a man is accused of shooting and killing cattle belonging to his neighbors.
9 News reporter Ria Ja is in Larimer County.
In all 75 years Jordan Yarber's family has owned this ranch, they've never lost this many cattle in one day.
I'm fourth generation. My great grandfather bought this place in the early 50s.
Raising cattle is all Jordan Yarber has ever known.
Since people have sold off and subdivided, and we've got some really good neighbors out of that, but unfortunately we've gotten some kind of ugly neighbors as well.
Last week, a herd of Yarber's cattle wandered onto one of his new neighbors' property.
They had ventured off 100 yards down the hill into his place.
Yarber said Michael Hester moved in last July, and he never heard from him until he got a call from the brand inspector.
He said, well, the guy across the road shooting at him right now, chasing him with a pickup.
The Larimer County Sheriff's Office arrested Hester. He's now facing several charges, including 9 counts of animal cruelty.
I just couldn't believe it. I've never met this man. I've never met him a day in my life, never even seen him.
8 of Yarber's cattle were killed. He estimates the loss at $30,000 and thousands more in lost income.
We're looking 5, 6, 7 years probably to fully recover from that sort of loss.
Yarber is just starting to pick up the pieces and move on from the kind of thing he never expected in his neighborhood.
I rely on good neighbors somewhat, you know, to call me and notify me, hey, you know, there's some cattle over here. I've never thought in my right mind to go kill somebody's livestock, animals, just because they're a nuisance. I mean,
the suspect bonded out of jail last week and is expected to make his first appearance in court on Friday. Reporting in Larimer County, Ria Ja, 9 News.
Lakewood police are asking for your help tonight finding Aaliyah Heredia. She's 12 years old. She was last seen 8 days ago on Tuesday, April 2nd, wearing black sweatpants and a pink shirt. Police say they know Aaliyah hangs around West Bates Avenue, just east of Federal Boulevard and Colorado Heights University in Denver. Investigators say she does have a history of running away, but they're especially concerned tonight because of her age, and they say she doesn't have a cell phone with her. They're also worried Aaliyah may be planning to leave the state, so if you see her, call 911.
Taking a live look outside now, downtown Denver. Ball Arena's packed as the Nuggets host the Timberwolves going into the night. Teams were tied for first in the Western Conference. 3 games left in the season. We'll get into that game coming up in sports.
It's a big one and a beautiful day today, Kathy.
Absolutely beautiful. We had a mix of clouds and sunshine, which made it look and feel like a spring day, and a little bit of convective activity out there. Some thunder and a few rain showers that evaporated before they hit the ground. These fast-moving showers coming off the foothills didn't last for very long, and a lot of us didn't see any rain, but that's our best shot at rain for the next couple of days as we're warming up and drying out ahead of a warm weekend with elevated fire danger. Temperatures still comfortable this hour after a day with highs in the 50s and 60s. We're 43 degrees in Denver. We have a mild night tonight. The winds are light this evening, but expected to pick up as we move toward the end of the week. The weather system crossing Colorado tonight still generating a few light showers, tracking from the northwest to the east and southeast, but kind of falling apart as we speak. The clouds move out tonight. We get a sunny day tomorrow. Temperatures, which are comfortable this evening, will go really warm tomorrow afternoon. We'll detail all of it with the extended forecast coming up.
Colorado's utility regulators are following the governor's directive to gather customer complaints about Xcel Energy's first ever preemptive power shutoffs in Colorado. Xcel purposefully cut off electricity to 55,000 customers across 6 counties last weekend with high winds coming. Today, Colorado's Public Utilities Commissioner said they agree with the safety benefits of those shutoffs, but the PUC wants more answers about Xcel's methodology and how they notify customers. Commissioners say they've already received more than 400 comments and complaints. They'll hold a public hearing to gather more feedback next Wednesday.
I think there's a long game and a near-term game here. We are a deliberative regulatory agency. That's one of the reasons we're not out there in real time making decisions about whether power should turn on or off. So I do want to be thoughtful about this. If this is going to be a tool that we look at using more regularly in Colorado, let's take the time to think about it. That doesn't mean we need to move slow.
Xcel insists those shutoffs were for safety reasons and that it took days to turn the power back on for some people because hundreds of miles of lines had to be inspected and repaired. Xcel says since Saturday's storm, they've replaced more than 100 poles, 28 transformers, and 12 miles worth of lines.
The power is back on now, but Xcel customers are still dealing with the fallout from this weekend's outages, like spoiled food and other problems. Some want insurance to cover the losses, like Nellie Conboy, who says she lost about $350 worth of food. The Rocky Mountain Insurance Information Association says, though, it may not be in your best interest to file a claim.
And if you file a number of small claims over a short period of time, that could put you at risk for non-renewal of your renter's policy. You may want to think twice about whether that makes sense for you to file that insurance claim, even though that food spoilage is likely covered.
Xcel Energy says it will not reimburse customers for food loss due to outages, including when crews shut off the power themselves. 9 years after a fiery crash of a Flight for Life helicopter in Frisco, thousands of helicopters in use today remain vulnerable to that same type of fuel system flaw that led to the catastrophic injuries to a Colorado flight nurse.
That flight nurse tells our investigative reporter Chris Vanderveen there's now a fix for the flaw.
The failure of the fuel system on board this Airbus-built Flight for Life tagged helicopter couldn't have been more obvious. As fuel poured into the cockpit, a flight nurse burned alive.
The helicopter that we had was brand new, and I expected it to have all the safety features, and it was billed to us as having extra safety features.
Dave Repsher says this should have been the last time anyone had to suffer the way he did in Frisco, Colorado in 2015. More than 90% of his skin burned that day. And yet, less than 2 weeks after he reached a $100 million settlement with Airbus and the helicopter's operator, it happened again. Another survivable crash, another deadly fire, this time in the Grand Canyon.
No lessons were learned out of all this. That's what it seemed to us.
The National Transportation Safety Board, in this report on the Grand Canyon crash, put it this way. Those in seats 2, 3, 4, 6, and 7 died solely from burns and smoke inhalation. In other words, minus the fire, they would have walked away.
That crash was gut-wrenching. We just felt so helpless.
Amanda and Dave Repsher knew the problem far too well. Far too many helicopters flew with fuel tanks so brittle they easily ruptured after otherwise survivable crashes. We spent years investigating the problem, a problem Congress partially fixed.
Which is designed to improve helicopter fuel system safety for newly manufactured helicopters.
Partially fixed in 2018 when it required this. Any newly built helicopter had to have a crash-worthy fuel system on board. What Congress didn't address, the thousands of helicopters already in use, the so-called legacy fleet.
We knew that we couldn't get angry about it because the anger would consume us. So instead we decided that we just have to focus on how we can make a difference.
And so the Repshers continue to go to trade shows to talk to manufacturers, operators, and pilots about the continued problem. And then, at a recent conference, someone handed them this letter.
At least it's an acknowledgement on Airbus's part that it's time for them to do something.
Airbus Helicopters, Inc. says it will now offer CRFS, or crash-resistant fuel system retrofit kits, free of charge to U.S.-based operators on its helicopters that remain vulnerable to post-crash fires.
And now that this is going to be free for owners and operators, it's certainly our hope that the rest of that legacy fleet gets retrofitted.
There is no guarantee owners and operators will take advantage of this, and the Repshers remain skeptical of the motives. Recently, the Grand Canyon crash resulted in yet another $100 million payout.
I think the insurance companies are really the ones stepping up to put the pressure on the industry to change their ways.
But this they say is a good sign nonetheless. The technology to fix the problem is decades old. It should have been in place then when this happened, but there's no excuse for it to happen again. People no longer need to burn. Chris Vanderveen, 9 News.
The Repshers have spent years working on this, along with the widow of the pilot who died in the crash. The fix does require owners and operators to take their helicopters out of commission, potentially for weeks. You should note, Air Methods voluntarily retrofitted their entire fleet after that crash in Frisco.